Let me tell you, as I was reading this, I cannot fathom it in my mind.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where you scared to walk because you might trip because rats is running over your feet.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I think that I would move. And you know, I might offend people because people from New York is all loyal, son. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's cold, right?
Mm-hmm.
People is rude as hell. I have no idea why anybody would want to live in New York with rats.
Right.
And that's everybody. I don't care if you're Donald Trump.
Right.
You have rats in
Yeah.
that building.
Nah, I can't do it.
Absolutely.
Well, now hold on now.
They are all the
He finna
same.
defend the rats. Come on, man.
Because
Rats ain't so bad.
Chicago got the same
No,
problem.
Chicago, Philadelphia.
I've never seen Chicago. I've never seen a rat in Chicago.
Ooh, you've never seen a rat
I've
in Chicago?
never seen a rat
Ooh.
in Chicago.
You are very lucky.
I have.
Okay.
You are very lucky. I have seen rats in Chicago.
Yeah,
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
I have.
They got them.
Yeah. I don't. I listen.
So as bad as Milwaukee is, at least we ain't got rats
Right.
Right.
yet.
Right. No doubt.
Our rats is in office.
Right.
Right. That too. Right. But no, Chicago has some sewer rats that put New York to shame. So Chicago got rats big as German
They
Shepherds.
be chasing your cat.
Yes, no
Right.
doubt. Your
Yeah.
cat will be like, you crazy as hell. I don't want no parts of this.
I quit.
Right.
And if you go
I'm a
down on
pussy
the
now.
if you go down on the lakefront, Milwaukee has some rats that are just as big.
Okay.
But the problem in New York is that they are trying to figure out once again who do we blame this on, right?
Well, it's the gentrification.
What they're
right?
saying is gentrification,
Right.
but there's a lot of different things that come into play with New York's rat problem. First of all, like I'm pretty sure it's just like Milwaukee, where you got a lot of vacant, abandoned property that's just kind of sitting there that's not developed. And then you got so many people in one place. Well, think about the garbage. Think about the fact that what are they throwing away in their trash?
Roll through the hood.
Right.
Just
I mean,
look.
it's like a picnic.
Just
for
Yeah, I've
rats.
for
seen
sure.
garbage piles where you couldn't even see over to the sidewalk in New York.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's all of that, and all that comes into play. And as usual, liberals and Democrats and all these people, they look to blame each other because they all want votes.
They need the Pied Piper.
Right. Right. Well,
R. Kelly.
right. So it's Outlaw Radio, Ghetto Sunshine. You know, and in the summer, the rats, that's when they come out. You think about it in New York, you got all these vendors that's on the street selling hot dogs, and people are throwing pizza and grocery stores and bodegas and restaurants. People create trash.
Yep.
Like humans consume, they create waste,
Mhm.
and animals survive off of that, right? So
The more waste, the more survival.
right.
Right.
So I just think when it comes to New York, to me, there should be like a some kind of movement from their governor or the mayor and the governor to just bring as many exterminators as you can into the city and just put down traps and really create ways to get rid of these rats.
Then Peter
Because
comes,
that-
right? Then don't Peter
Well,
come talk
does
to
Peter
you?
defend rats?
I don't
I
know.
would hope that they don't.
Yeah, they animals.
I hope they don't
Are you
defend
sure?
rats.
They should make a new thing,
They're like pro-life,
That
right?
rat
They
fur.
don't. You can't kill the rats.
They
I
got a
hope-
rat fur
yeah.
jacket.
Yeah, I hope they don't. I hope they don't. I hope that they don't. I hope they don't defend rats, man. Really,
I don't know,
do.
Peter. Well, you would have to, right? Or do you pick which animals should live and not? I
Right,
think they would have to.
right.
Yeah. So do you think with most like the restaurants and grocery stores, things of that nature, when they're done at the end of the night, they just take all of that food and just throw it out? Like they could donate it.
Especially the
It's
buffets.
enough homeless people
Real
there
talk.
to eat up half of that trash that's going out.
Pick
Right.
and save.
So exactly.
Mhm.
So there are ways to bring the numbers down, because if you can definitely, I think they could starve the rats out basically with not discarding food at the end of the night.
Okay.
If they give it to
Or discounting.
there's enough homeless people, like I said, to consume that food and some.
But you know what they'll tell you? Because I have actually talked to a store manager and asked them about what they did, you know what I mean? And they throw the food out and suggested that, like, you couldn't give it to a shelter or something like that. They said it's a health issue. right? Because the food is old, and once it becomes more than a day or more than 2 days old, it's a health issue.
Because if somebody gets sick, they want a soup.
But at the same time, then we had a governor here that turned around and made passed some proclamation that roadkill was acceptable.
Well, he tried.
Right,
It didn't really.
So, but I'm just saying, so 2 day old food is a health risk, right? But scrape up this dead possum off the side of the road. Good
That's been consuming some of everything.
That was shot down.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they lying. I think you see what they want us to eat.
He tried it. He tried it.
Devil.
Right. He did try it. But like I was saying, man, women going crazy. Here's Jada Pinkett. Here's Jada Pinkett again on her talk show. Red Table Talks,
which I watch.
All right.
Do you watch it?
I do.
Okay. I've never seen an episode.
In my life.
Just because as a couple, Jada and Will don't represent me. They don't represent where I want to go. Just because, number one, I think they're weirdos, but number two, I think the money has kind of taken them in a different direction. But she's come out with all these issues. She was addicted to sex. She was addicted to masturbation. She was addicted to porn. Now she's addicted to porn. She was addicted to porn. She got her daughter sitting there with her. Her daughter admits that she's been watching porn since she was a youngster. And Jada's going on about how, if she was still into it, she could tell you how to get some good porn. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying, I don't know how I feel about this one. I don't know how I feel about Jada being so open, saying, oh, at one point I was, and all this stuff, coincidentally, so she says, was before she got in a relationship with Will Smith, right? So she says.
So your beef is not with anything that she did. Your beef is that she was open with it.
I have no beef with her at all about what she said. I mean, she said it on her show. But I think about time and place, and I think about appropriateness, and I think about Black women, and I think about what they're trying to get, what they're striving for in terms of how people view Black women, how people perceive Black women, and how they're treated. And then I think about some of the signals that are thrown out by Black women, right? Empowerment, liberation, respect me. Don't just look at my body, respect my mind. And then Cardi saying she's dropping Mickeys and Mollies on men, setting them up with transgenders. And the City Girls got the song about you get robbed. It's all about your money. And it's just like, and I know opinions vary. But when I see somebody like Jada, I think she's a little bit too free with this. I also disagree with her having her daughter sitting there. I think this is a conversation that should be private.
How old is her daughter?
She's 18. She's a woman.
Yeah,
but my son could be 18, but he and I will never be sitting on the fishing bank and he'll be telling me, Pops, I had her from the back, right? So now that's not a conversation. I say, oh boy, wait a minute now. Now calm down. Now, I don't need that much detail from you about that. I'd be trying to salvage some sort of learning moment and say, well, bro, be careful, make sure you protect it.
When the fact of the matter is you did everything he just talked about.
Well, he don't know that, and we won't ever have that conversation.
So really what we're talking about is reality versus perception.
My computer is throwing up on me, y'all. So
it's the perception versus the reality, because the fact of the matter, this stuff happens. So so one thing I read once is that when you have these religious conventions and these Christians have these women's retreats and these men retreats or whatever, the hotels that they stay in, these are the Christians now. The porn goes up like 200%.
Right.
Movies that do
$1 billion business.
So these are church people who also watch porn.
Right.
Some of them, I'm sure, are your deacons and pastors and bishops and you know what I'm saying, and first ladies and prophetesses,
the ushers
and the nurses. So like again, I don't always think it's an either or thing, and I also don't like this politically correct thing. Like we won't say what's really happening. Right.
No, I said time and place now. Remember that. I didn't say she was wrong for saying it.
Right. But I also think that her time and her place on her show. Okay. Right. I think that's pretty. But my thing is, like, even when we talked about the wives earlier, the stuff is happening. We just pretend like it's not happening. So I think that there should be some more forthcoming with information and truth. Yeah. And if I'm sitting on the fishing with my son and he's 18, and we got that kind of relationship, he can tell me how he did, and I'm gonna be like, boy, let me tell you about what Daddy did when I was back. And that's cool. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, but I think we should be real and stop pretending things aren't happening that are happening.
Well, first of all, I would never pretend. Obviously, I couldn't pretend. You my son, so somewhere
that apple don't fall far
Daddy
from
did
the tree, right?
I think there's a way to address it with him, though. I think there's a conversation that we have where I say, boy, I had my adventures, I did my thing, and I can leave it at that. I don't have to be descriptive about. So what I did was I put her heel up here, right?
What if he asked you?
And then I had her other leg over here. I said, I don't have to go into that. Now, if that is a relationship you have with your son,
it's individual. Absolutely.
Once again, this is preference.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For me, now, if his question was, Dad, like, how do I bring some spice, or how do I test this or test that? Then I'd be able to say, well, son, you got to make these kind of maneuvers. There's really no reason for me.
So if he say, Dad, you like Pinky or Jada Fire? You ain't gonna answer that.
First of all, I laugh because by that time, that would be such vintage porn, right?
For example, well, he might like
where you found my porn stash at?
Boy, you been on that damn iPad again. Totally leave my shit alone.
Hey.
No, you know what? If the question comes down, he wants to talk about porn. As his father, what I'm going to try to do is encourage him to have a healthy relationship
with porn.
Yeah, and say, well, now, son, you know that stuff that's for the camera. Like, that's not really how relationships. You can't have those expectations in your relationship. Yeah. But Dad, I get what you're saying, son. That's what you like. Yeah, boy, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know that. But I'm not gonna say
first.
Right, but I ain't gonna say, oh boy, let me tell you what you should be watching now. I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
You don't need permission, you need clearance.
Hey,
right. You need your own house. Right. So that means when Dad, I need to stay with y'all for a few months. You have no internet access. Because I'm not gonna walk in on your grown ass in the basement, punching your clown, and then I'm still, oh shit, and I fell out and had a heart attack. Girl, it was laid out across the bed.
Hell no, with a helmet on.
Well, once again, I didn't understand why he had the stool. But so how did you feel about Jada? I mean, you watched the show. How you feel about Jada's super sharing on the show?
One of the reasons why I watch Jada is because she has these conversations with her kids around. I have daughters. So it's like some of these topics, I'm not sure how to talk to them about it. And I'm coming up on some stuff that's really about to happen. And I don't know how to bring up the conversation. I don't know where to start. Most of the stuff that I learned about being a young lady, I kind of had to bump my head on it. So I like her openness because it's giving me ideas to be more open with my kids. I will definitely not have a free gauge as she does, but it encourages me. It gives me insight on how it may be received, because then I can go and read the comments and see what people are also saying. So now I'm getting additional feedback. But with the porn addiction, I don't know what it is. I really don't. Like, I've seen some porn recently, but I don't know what an addiction is. You know what I mean? So, I don't know what a porn addiction is. Well, so what does that look like?
The way she defined it is, she said that she was actually getting to the point where she was having an orgasm 5-6 times a day. And she said she told herself, look, this has to stop. I'm having orgasms 5-6 times a day. It's affecting my life.
How's it affect? Did she say how it was affecting her life?
She didn't go,
because I'm like, what's the problem?
She didn't go into detail about that. I guess her addiction, she said addiction might be a little strong.
Okay.
She had a relationship with it, which meant she watched it a lot, obviously. One of those things is, I was just fine growing up, and actually my parents were old Southern parents, and there wasn't that openness that you see now. And when I turned 17, I remember my mom's had the most hardcore conversation with me that I ever wanted to have with her, and I didn't want to have it with her then, because by that time I kind of had the basic understanding of where things was going, right? But her conversation with me, I was like, you know what, I'm cool. If she hadn't have done that, I'm cool. I wish she hadn't, because she was so blunt and so bottom line
Real.
raw with it. It was like, ill, mama,
Right.
I don't need to hear you say that. So, and your part of living life is to learn and discover. You should, as a young person, be discovering and learning new things. But because if somebody tell you everything, then what? There's no fun in it.
Yeah,
There's no discovery.
It's still fun. If just because they told you what it do when you do it is if you do it
but
right,
not every
still
last
fun.
detail of it.
Well, again, I think that's matter.
First of all, I think you would have to get very descriptive. You know, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm like you. I have daughters, and what I don't want to happen is them to be finding out from somebody else who don't know what the hell they talking about and get bad information. You know what I'm saying, and that sort of thing. So even though they probably won't come talk to me, you know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure they won't.
But I still try to encourage them to talk to their mom, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And have that open, don't be scared. And I tell them, even for me, it might make you uncomfortable, but I said one thing I promise you, if you come you ask me, I'm gonna tell you the truth.
So that's what I'm even saying about like your daughters. Like if you
I'm gonna tell them the truth.
But if your daughters say, yeah, dad, I got this dude and you know, dad, he's hung like a horse, and I wanted him to bend me over. And now, do you go into a story about, well, you know what, I had a girl about your height when I was in high school.
You know what I can do is I can tell her, baby, that's making me a little uncomfortable.
That's what I'm saying. So is that not the double standard?
But I still, if she had a question or she was seeking some sort of wisdom,
okay,
I would let her know honestly, this is not.
Well, you know, your mama used to like that too.
But I still would try to answer her
Don't
question.
throw mom under the
right?
bus.
No, yeah, I would throw the mom under the bus. Yeah. But I still would try to answer the question.
Let's talk about this other girl.
Right?
Her name is Rom.
I used to do a long time ago. Long time ago.
So this was before Mama Daddy?
Yeah, way before.
Yeah.
Mama wasn't even born.
Right. She had a tattoo. Mama got a tattoo. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So I mean, you know, it comes down to personal preference.
Absolutely.
And the fact that I guess thanks to you two, I'm enlightened a little bit because I feel like if you're having that conversation with your parent, then you are in a position and you have a relationship with your kids, so you're there to have that conversation. So that even, you know, that matters. That matters a lot as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
Absolutely.
I guess
If
still
I had
getting
to
mad
pick
about
one thing for them to come to me about, it would definitely be anything of the sexual reproductive type. If I had to choose one thing that they just absolutely came to me about, that's what that would be. It wouldn't be about no money. It wouldn't be about no job choices or careers, not even college choices. If there was one thing that I wanted my kids to come to me about, that's what it would be. Anything reproductive.
And that these days, you don't even want them learning that in school.
No,
because they tell them you don't have to be a little boy if you don't want to.
I set my kids out.
You know what I mean? You don't have to be a little girl.
I'm honestly much better.
He.
I'm much better off if my daughter never comes to me to talk about anything sexual. I can go in peace. I can go to my grave in peace as long as my baby girl don't never come to me. Go talk to your mama.
Yeah, there is that.
And even with my son, it's an open and shut. It's an open and shut conversation because it's like, well, boy, you know, but see, my father, once again, my father was old school, old fashioned. He wasn't gonna sit there and have that conversation with you, but he'd ask you some basic questions like, do you have condoms? Yes, use them. Now, what was you saying about the Packers? And that was the length of the conversation. He was not gonna say, yeah, boy, well, you know, it would have been weird if he did. So I'm glad that he didn't. He didn't do that.
All right.
Now back to the city, since it's Ghetto Sunshine.
Yes,
it's Outlaw Radio. I know people like, well, they talking about porn an awful long time.
Well,
and, and Monique with side chicks and porn addictions and
this pertinent information.
The union for the bus driver wants the bus drivers here now to have firearms, because of something. I know last week they actually stabbed by driving the bus or whatever. So I don't necessarily disagree with them having firearms because I think a lot of times they're put in some bad situations.
A whole lot of times.
But I hope there's a lot of training involved.
Absolutely.
You know,
more than you get at the police academy.
That's cosmetology.
Hello, somebody.
So I can put some lipstick on somebody. So I don't understand the level of training that they get. Anybody could be a police officer.
I agree.
Anybody that got 6 months, period.
Okay.
I've had telemarketing jobs that had equal training. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And
Mhm.
6 months of training, like
Mhm.
it does get ridiculous. Especially when we talked about the mental health thing we got going, and when they
Right.
closed the mental health facilities, it just kind of pushed all of those people on the streets. Well, a lot of I drove a bus, and a lot of them just ride the bus,
Mhm.
especially when it's cold and other things
Mhm.
like that. And if you want to keep your job, first of all, they got like 19 cameras on you as a bus driver. They got one staring in your face. They got
Mhm.
one pointing at your foot so they can
Right.
tell.
If
You
you're
know what I
going
mean?
too fast,
When you hit the brake, there's one I go looking at the traffic, and then you aren't allowed to defend yourself, right? If you get up out your seat and so on and so forth, there's repercussions and things like that. And it's an open carry state. So how come everybody else can be armed, right?
Mhm.
And I can't? So I don't disagree with that at all, especially some of the things that I saw as a bus driver. Yeah, do that.
Well, I was talking about like thank you for even saying who's riding the bus.
Well, yes, sir.
Because first of all, you got a lot of teenagers,
Oh,
and then you have a lot of
I didn't
people
I didn't even get on that.
with mental health issues riding the bus. So, I don't want Dirty Harry driving the bus. I said, sit down, punk.
Wait, listen.
Somebody jump on the bus, jump off the bus, or jump on without paying, and blah blah. I would just hope that they're trained in discretion and that it was a choice. So I know certain bus drivers would say, I'm not even going to do that, because firearms bring a different kind of energy to any situation. They change the dynamic of a situation totally. So I would hope that some bus drivers opted out of this and said, nah, not really going to do that one. I know there would be some who'd be like, hell yeah, I'm going to have my shit tomorrow. But in a city like Milwaukee, you got to be real careful about who you arm and how you arm them. Just like the problem we have with the police that you all just referenced. You got these dudes running around with guns, and we have a big enough problem with them. So now you want open carry from the citizens. You want the police to have guns. You want the bus drivers to have guns. Teachers want to have guns. Man, we're moving into some kind of guerrilla warfare society.
It's a deterrent.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's what they've
not
told
always.
Us. That's what they use when it works for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a deterrent. You would lock them up, or you know what I'm saying? It's preventive, right? And so if everybody have a gun and you don't know who have a gun or who might not have, I think this even ground.
Right. It's like I said, that's something that needs to be reviewed. The bus drivers with guns.
Well, what about school bus drivers? Because I've seen
definitely
parents have gotten on buses and assaulted
busloads
of children.
That's true. School bus drivers. See, and I hadn't even thought about that.
I didn't either. Good question.
So school bus drivers, once again,
at least give them a taser or something, right?
I would say start them with
some mace or something, right? Give them
no mace. You mace the whole bus.
I guess so.
I would give them at least a taser. But damn, the gun, I don't necessarily.
And a mandatory
they
taekwondo
better not bring them
class,
cousins
right?
Because it's certain kind of people who drive the yellow bus. I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying,
Well, I can guarantee you that let's say over 50% of the people that drive city buses have drove a school bus.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we talking about arming people.
Yeah, basically what we're talking about.
And it's crazy that we live in this society where everybody believes they got to have a gun in order to keep something from happening to them. That's how threatened people feel. That's the thing about the summertime in Milwaukee is it can be a situation where shit is so unsafe. Just driving down the street with a fool come flying in the bus lane in a Stoli, or sometimes it ain't even a Stoli, it's his mama car.
The baby mama car.
Right, baby mama, and she might be driving, shit. I mean, it's not
She's
safe.
chasing him.
Sisters out here wilding too behind the wheel. But you don't feel safe. And you do, people say, well, I have to get a gun. I have a rule of thumb about a firearm, and I've always lived by this. If you ain't shit without a gun, don't get one. Which means if you can't fight, don't get a gun. If you're not a tough guy without a gun, don't get a gun, because it's a false sense of security, and it's artificial. And I said that because, if you the type of dude, you can look and say, have I ever really had a fight? No. Or you can say, I've had a lot of fights, but have I won any? No, not really. I pretty much got my ass mollywopped every time I squared up. So what that means is when you do pull that firearm out, now you're scared. You're more scared than ever.
So how many police police officers did you just talk about? Did you just?
I'm
name?
pretty sure it's a
90.
whole lot of.
Half the squad, right? You know what I'm saying?
More than
You
half.
used to get beat up in school. Now
I
they
would say half, yeah.
They were
and they
bullied.
tough with
Put his foot
guns.
in your ass.
You can see it in their face.
Right.
I'm like, oh, he was bullied.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that, but I'm just saying I see a lot of brothers get guns who, without the gun, keep it, son. You can get your ass twerked. So I'm saying don't get a gun. You don't get a gun, because you're gonna be so scared. And people think that pulling a gun out it's like in a TV show, or it's like in a movie.
It's not gonna make that little sound.
I'm saying some niggas don't give a damn about you to pull that damn gun out. Niggas shoot, nigga.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Now you got a decision.
They got their
Right.
chest to the barrel.
Hey.
Right.
So now what you gonna do?
The first thing you do is close your eyes and do this with it.
Oh, there go the kids.
No, you're right. You
didn't hit everybody except for who you was aiming at.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say let's be cautious about telling everybody to get a gun. People who don't put their guns away safely. You got kids in the house, blam blam. Little Junior done blew his dome off.
Mm-hmm.
See, a gun, it's a whole bunch of different things with guns. It's not just the actual, I got a strap, I'm safe. Because I got some homeboys who died with their guns on their waist. I mean, and that's just real. Like, he had it, but if somebody get the drop on you, they got the drop on you.
Yep.
So a gun is not necessarily a guarantee. So I think you got to be very careful. Like, I see brothers now come in places and I look on his waist and I say, damn, this brother got a shit, he got an extended clip. I'm like, wow.
But look for his forehead, for the cracks in it.
Yeah.
Somebody might have went across his head.
That's true.
I look for scars when I see guns.
All right. I mean, that's
your ass whooping for 38.
Mm-hmm.
You got 38 ass whoopings.
Hell no.
No, I just guns aren't toys. And guns are very dangerous. And in particular, guns are very dangerous in the hands of certain people. Mm-hmm. A scary individual does not need a gun. If you cannot fight, you don't need a gun.
Your flight is top notch.
Right. If you've always been a dude who's more mouth than might, you don't need no gun. If you're a heavily influenceable cat, shoot him. All right, boom, boom, boom. Then that's what I'm saying, man. Let's be careful with the guns. And I'm an advocate of guns. I love guns. I do. I have a bunch of them. And I've trained myself with them about as well as I can train myself. I ain't John Wick, but I know how to operate them. I know how to break down, clean, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm very responsible with it. But see, the thing about me was I've always been good with my hands. So I don't got to walk around with a gun. And I've also not gotten involved in beef where I need to walk around with a gun. That's another thing. What kind of decisions have you made in your life? And you got those kind of enemies where you got to have a gun with you. Well, I ain't trying to let these dudes rob me. Well, it's a car. Really? You want to shoot him over the car? You want to take your car? And I know there's no guarantee. Well, he might rob me and shoot me anyways. But you got to remember, in life, there's no guarantees at all.
But to answer your question, the dude that's trying to take my car, yeah, I want to shoot him.
I'm not.
Yeah, no, I'm going to shoot
I'm
him.
not.
Yeah,
I'm pissed off.
No, I'm shooting.
But
I would want to shoot him.
Yeah,
because 9 times out of 10, I have my kids, again, all females, in a car that looks like an easy target.
I agree.
And he deserved to be shot.
Okay, so carjacking is different. But, okay, I agree with y'all on the carjacking issue. But the car's in your driveway, y'all in the house, he's outside breaking in your car. You want to shoot him out the window?
Yeah.
I've shot at someone out a window before.
Yeah, shoot him too.
I don't want to kill no teenager in my driveway over no car stereo.
Teenagers don't steal.
Yeah.
How about that?
That's one way to teach them, right?
How about that?
You sound like Bear Meat, man. Shout out to Bear Meat.
Yeah,
that's Bear Meat all the way saying, blow his goddamn head
Thou
off.
shalt not steal.
Yeah. I'm not that punitive. My desire to shoot you comes when you come to my door. That's when you hear me cock. What was that? I don't know. That's when I say, okay, it's time for bro to go. Yeah. Now, shooting outside just to scare the dude, cool. But to aim, and then you shoot him and you go out there and you discover this is a 15-year-old kid.
He was on my roof, though. My garage is attached to my house.
Oh, okay.
And you're up there at my bedroom window now.
Oh, yeah, he wasn't coming for the car.
I was gonna let him in, but I didn't want to clean up the mess. So
because this was 15.
He wasn't gonna go out of there on 2 feet.
Come on.
Not on the stretcher, not with no vitals.
He should know if you open the door and say, come on in, that's a setup. Like, would you just come on in?
No, because the room was dark. The room was dark. So I heard him, and he's on like fiddling with my screen to my window.
Well, he wasn't trying to break it.
So,
see, that's different though. That's not him out there.
I said,
Your car alarm
shots got to be fired now because I don't want to clean up the mess. That's the only reason why.
You still have to mop the top of the garage though.
I wasn't gonna mop nothing. That could have been washed off with the rain.
The rain to clean it.
But
just gonna let the brains clean it.
Animals come eat. You know what I'm saying? The squirrels having a smorgasbord.
Pigeons on the roof eating eyeballs.
Seagulls.
Right. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But yeah, I have had to defend my home before.
Don't steal.
Right. I just think people and another thing I say is people believe that they can gun down a whole army of people and sleep peacefully for the next night. And I'm trying to tell you, taking a life ain't that easy. And I'm trying to tell you, I know people who have committed these acts and they've said to me, dude, I see that shit every night. That shit, my whole perspective has changed. It's not like it looks in the movies. And I think there's a romanticism about guns. I think we have this idea that it's like, man, I held it to the side. The soldier boy challenger, bow, shot him again. Bow, shot him again. Like it ain't that simple. So I think we have to exercise caution.
How long
is what I'm saying?
How long has that been drilled into our understanding though? Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, you grew up watching that.
There was the other dude with the big 45, man, Charlton Heston.
Death Wish, man.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah.
And the westerns, you know what I'm saying? All the way. Then you move up a little bit. Then the Scarface, right? You know what I'm saying? And then
say hello to my girlfriend,
right? And then so I mean, it's a part of our culture, and it has been like since we grew up, man.
Right.
So it's no surprise and it's no accident
that America is so violent.
Come on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with all of that. I agree. And that's what I'm saying. That's what's good about the show is, you can have a conversation. Some of it I agree with y'all on. Obviously, some of it I don't. And with the carjacking thing, you both are absolutely correct. Yes, if you come into my car door talking about get out, you got to stop. I would want to say, I want a gun, but at the same time, if I do have my kids, I don't want to agitate the situation.
I get that too.
So if I reach, then that might scare him and he might. I don't know. I'm not totally against it, but I don't totally endorse it. I want to see a plan
with the training.
What kind of structure and training would they receive?
With the training, with the training, 100%, 100%.
What y'all got, man? Because we're getting close to shutting it down, letting people enjoy the Thursday night. Hey, look, I apologize. We had a bunch of technical difficulties. I'll take care of all of it like I always do.
The show must go on.
Yeah, I'll take care of all of it. Our camera angles, everything was kind of crazy tonight, which is, you never know. You never know what you're going to get when you're dealing with the internet because it's in and out, up
it's
and down.
Live. We went live.
It's live. It's live. So apologize to anybody who say, well, I didn't like the camera angle or, I could.
Just do your hair like this.
Right. Well, the camera angle we use even on Facebook Live was different tonight. So. Yeah. Anybody who sticks with the show, I'll straighten it out. So shout out to YouTube. We had some issues with the YouTube, whatever. What you got, my sister?
Well, I saw that Sierra has been accepted into Harvard.
Oh, wow.
The singer Sierra?
Yes.
Well, her last album sold like 100 copies, so that's a good thing.
Now, do you think? Go ahead, finish.
My question is, it just with me following Sierra, my question was, did she pay to get in as the other people that are being criminally charged and other people that have also went to Harvard, Swiss Beats, and you can name them all. But did they really earn their spot in Harvard, or should that have gone to someone just because they didn't have the funds to pay for it all?
What is Sierra going to Harvard for?
Something in video production. She wants to start making videos and movies and stuff like that.
Okay.
So.
And she needs to go to Harvard for that.
Yep.
Yeah. See, so I don't know. I think even if she didn't pay, I would still be willing to go out on a limb and say her celebrity assisted her. You know what I mean, in securing that spot.
Right.
Yeah.
With celebrities, man, people give celebrities so much.
Man,
you're giving so much.
Yeah.
Sierra going to Harvard, I would, show me her transcripts from high school.
Right.
Like, if I'm really going to look into that, I don't know. What kind of entrance exams did she take? Like, I would have to know all of that. I'm totally for Black people educating themselves.
Oh yeah.
If she can go to Harvard and get some kind of enhancement or empowerment, that's fine. Go ahead, Sierra, do what you do. But I do question the validity of her admittance into Harvard.
What do you think?
I mean, I feel like it's celebrity, because when I was going to school and this and that, they were telling me that Harvard and Yale and Morehouse and all of these places were like for the top-notch brainiacs. It had nothing to do with money. A lot of the people that were in these schools came from low-income families, but they had the brain power to get themselves in through that testing.
Some of them did.
Yeah, some of them did.
Because those schools represent blue blood white people institutions. So, you know, when you talk about Harvard, you're talking about the white people who really haven't. I've never actually spoken with a person of color before. Well, there was Billy who did our grass, and Jesus, who's the gardener. Yeah. So, you know, good luck to Sierra.
Yeah, I'm not hating.
You got Russell Wilson. He just got a fat contract.
For sure.
Yeah. So, you
probably
know,
could buy at Harvard.
Well, yeah, and
y'all winning.
Her child support from Future was enough to, you know, it's not like that was small change. So, yeah, she used what she has to advance her her lifestyle, if you will.
Yeah. I absolutely support her. I think she's gonna do well.
I hope so.
I don't know about as far as producing any more albums or things like that, but she's a great entertainer. And a lot of her videos are based on her own concepts. So if she gets out there and does the work for herself,
go get it.
You know, that's a lot more money that she can be bringing in.
She cut out a whole middleman.
A couple of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I just hope she come back and do something for her people. You know what I'm saying? Elevate the group. Don't you know, leave them behind.
What you got on your notepad, Jason?
Man, we went through most of mine. The only thing I did want to I see, because we talked about taking the guns away from people, but I was reading the post also about how they were banning the books in the prison. Books about the justice system and different things like that, and it's unconstitutional. Like these, you know, what information are they afraid that these brothers can get behind these bars, man? So just another example of, you know, when they try to keep us dumb, you know what I'm saying, and keep us on the bottom. So at some point or another, we're gonna have to come together, realize, and do something about it.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's also another reason to boycott the prisons. Stay your ass out of jail.
And that. If possible.
Right.
If possible.
Stay your ass out of jail.
We finding out every year is something. We find out here a story about somebody that's getting out after 11 years, 20 years, and had no business being there. And then them just the ones that we know about. I got a feeling there's probably a whole lot of others that really didn't do what they're accused of doing.
I'm sure there's some, but I'm sure it's a lot of them who
there are those
exactly where they need to be.
There are those.
Don't free Ray Ray. Ray Ray shot 5 people. Leave Ray Ray ass up north.
Yeah, but let's come get Chad though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Come get Chad and lock his ass up.
Come get Leroy too. Yeah. Leroy might not have done it. But Ray Ray did that shit. Little man them, as Mr. Terry called him down at 3041 North. Little man.
Shut up.
Right. Yeah. Make sure you check us out on Saturday. We'll be going live a bunch of different ways. We're gonna try to use our Instagram, our Facebook. We'll try to use our YouTube. We're trying to cover this worldwide talent search, this music festival from Green Bay. I see Mr. Chestnut. He was tuning in. I saw him. Yeah. We're gonna have a good time. We'll be up there. So we won't be on Saturday, but next week we should be back to our normal schedule. Shout out to, like I said, 3041 North, 414-810-3131. The Get Motivated, Get Healthy Facebook group. Big things coming from that with Miss Serena Brown.
What up, Patel?
You know, teamwork makes the dream work. If you got something you want to promote, holler at me.
Yeah.
Inbox me for sponsorship opportunities. We are moving in that direction. We're gonna have to because we need some oil to make this wheel go. Like some of these technical issues that I'm having are just because it's financial. Like better equipment will give you a better result every time. So
keep it real.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. So it's labor of love, but it's damn sure labor.
For sure.
So we'll get like I said, I'll straighten all that stuff out. I don't know exactly what was going on here tonight, but we'll fix it. It is ghetto sunshine. Be careful. I know we're supposed to have a pretty warm weekend. You know, if you're going out, be safe, man.
Be safe out there. Be safe.
Young ladies, if you want to go out with your freakum dress on, that's fine. I ain't got no problem with it. But watch your drink. Make sure ain't nobody dropping nothing in there. Make sure ain't nobody Mickeying you. As far as the corruption
know the game.
Yeah, as far as the corruption in the city goes, there will be more figures to fall. Alderman Witkowski had to drop out today. We know some more people coming. We know Michael Bonds is snitching. I believe Alderman Wade will have to cooperate as well.
You think?
I would believe that sooner or later, when the feds come in and talk to Witkowski, he's gonna say somebody's name.
Yep.
LaFave is under the treasurer. They got him too. He'll be spitting, as they say. So this will be a very interesting summer leading up to 2020 in terms of our politicians getting put on Front Street for the corruption that we knew has been happening for years. We've known that it's been too much money being passed along downtown for it not to be corruption. So, like I said, as far as the protests, the promised protests of summer events, go out and have a good time, but be on the right side, be safe, keep your eyes open, keep your head on a swivel. You do deserve the right to have a good time, especially if you work very hard, but understand those protests aren't for nothing.
This is real.
Those protests are because this city for a very long time has compromised and subjugated people of color.
Yes.
And people are tired of it, and people are sick of it, and people have had enough. So you have a lot of people who want to do something about it. I always say activism without action is a hollow pursuit. So if you're going to be active and you're going to be activists, you got to be down to do some activities, right? So for people,
active.
right? So people who out and you say, well, now why they want to come down here and slap Kenny G's fluid out his hand, right? Understand Kenny G don't know what's going on. So it'd be best if Kenny just say, hey, well, I have nothing against you guys. I'm doing my Kenny G voice.
Kenny G should start playing the Black National Anthem at that point.
Right.
Just
can you play We Shall Overcome on the flute? I don't know. He doesn't even play a flute, right? Y'all got something y'all want to say before we get out of here?
I think I have.
You good? You
gone
good?
over all my topics.
Shout out to my sister. This is her second show.
Out. Yeah.
I wish we had a better, we'll get this together.
It gets better. It gets better.
Because we had a great show the last time she came on.
Sure.
This kind of, this is one of those things when you do this where it goes like this. So
Absolutely.
shout out to her. She always holds her own and brings a lot to the conversation. Shout out to West Side. The Bucks are losing. I told y'all the series was over. I love the Bucks, but we're one player away, and I think that it's pretty much over. So you said fear the deer. I say, look, just be cool, because instead of fear the deer, we got to say wait till next year.
Shout out, C. You having a good time.
Right. So I think it's over. I don't see them being able to rebound. Like I said, I think that the Toronto figured out a way to beat the Bucks, and the Bucks can't. They just can't do it because they don't have a half-court offense. So it is what it is, man. It was a good ride. I wouldn't say don't go to the game. Keep going to the game. Keep supporting. Whatever you do, be safe, man. I hope you get everything you want, but I hope you want everything you get. So we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Peace.
Later.
He don't know what he's talking about. He's doing that.